Alrighty, so we are here talking about the team, doing a review after the match against the Whitecaps, and I'm kind of even surprised that I'm doing this video, but for you guys, I feel like a video talking about this team after the last couple of weeks is very much needed, and I don't want to leave any of you guys hanging because it has been rough. It has not been fun, and yeah, I mean, I'm not totally surprised. I mentioned to everybody in my previous videos that essentially after the Galaxy game, I was kind of done like with talking about the team for a while and kind of just disconnecting from the Sounders because I didn't think this was going to get much better. I've seen what I needed to see. This is stuff that I've alluded to that might happen if we don't do X, Y, and Z, and we're at kind of the point. So if I'm going to be honest with myself and with you all, I haven't watched many or really that many minutes of games after the match against the Galaxy. So in regards to get started talking about the match against Vancouver, I didn't watch pretty much till I would say like added time in this game. So once we hit like 45th minute plus added time, that's when I tuned in. I had tickets to the match. I sold it. I haven't actually been to a match now for a couple of weeks. I can't be bothered. I'm not interested. I have a million other better things I'd rather do than go to Sounders games at this very moment in time. And it's very disheartening to say because this team just isn't fun to go see, to commit like 4, 5, 6 hours of my day, spend hundreds of dollars at game days. The math doesn't math. But in regards to this match, so as I said, I didn't start watching it till around added time in the first half. And I know the big moment in this match was Jackson Ragen's red card. When looking back on all that, I did rewatch the highlights. I did rewatch the replays of the first half. It looked like the Sounders were looking okay. They looked semi-dangerous. They looked like they might have been able to get a goal in the first half. And then Jackson Ragen gets a red card. Do I think it was a red? No. Do I think it's the absolute end of the world that Jackson Ragen got sent off? No. I mean, yes, it changed the game. It definitely put the game in Vancouver's favor a lot more. But at the same time, I really like honestly though, the timing of it wasn't the worst because the Sounders went into the half 0-0. So it's not like they were down a goal after the red card, like the Whitecaps scored in the first half. The Sounders are still in a pretty good spot. Talking about the red card though, talking about Jackson Ragen, it's not a second red card in what, like 3 years for the team. The problem isn't with me that it was or was not a red, like, because it wasn't a red, but it definitely was not necessarily not a red at the same time. When I look back on it, it just kind of looks clumsy and silly, regardless if it was an accidental tackle or not. I've mentioned many times in videos, Jackson Ragen has a lot of boneheaded, loses like sight that he is on planet Earth moments way too many times. I'm not saying I don't rate Jackson Ragen, but I don't rate him as our main starting center back because, in my opinion, you don't win trophies with a guy like Jackson Ragen as one of your two center backs next to Yeimar. I think he's a perfect third string center back. I think he's perfect for that, but he's not a starting center back, in my opinion. That's just my take. You guys can agree or disagree with me with that. But yeah, regardless, a bit boneheaded. I don't think it was a red. I think it was harsh, but nonetheless, he made the tackle. He was clumsy. We're down to 10 men. What can we do? What is within our own control here? When I saw that the substitution we made was bring on a center back, A plus plus, cool beans. You bring on Javi. I mean, I personally would start playing Nathan or Bell. I really like Nathan. I don't know if it's just me, but I like Nathan. It's so interesting. These newer players or players that haven't, like, the younger players that have not gotten minutes, be it like a Nathan, a Della Vega, a Thomas, Musovski, they've all been kind of like a little bit, especially Della Vega, have been the bigger bright spots in this team, more of like the breath of fresh air because they're more hungrier compared to the other bimbos on this team, and we'll get on to why I'm calling them all bimbos. I thought we should have bring on, I don't think Nathan was in the 18, but maybe instead bring on Bell. I mean, that's so like nitpicky though, but nonetheless, we bring on Javi. That's not the problem. Was who we took out. We took out Raúl for Jordan. And when I saw that, I was thinking to myself, why? Why is okay. Why does Jordan Morris get such significant minutes? What are we, like 8 or 9 games into the season? And my guy has dropped stinker after stinker after stinker after stinker. At this point, if this was me at my job, I've dropped this many sinkers, I would have been canned by now. I would have legitimately been fired. And I think that could go for every one of you watching this with all of your occupations. He keeps getting 80+ minute matches, match after match after match after match. And I'm just like, why? Don't get me wrong. I don't think Raúl is God's given gift again. Like, I don't think Raúl is back to vintage Raúl of 2018, 2019 era. But Raúl has done a bit more and has been a lot more effective than Jordan Morris has this season, especially. And he just keeps getting minutes. And I rewatched. I mean, I already had a hunch this is why Brian kept him on. I watched the press conference this morning on why he did that because he was asked that question. Because I think most of us were like, bro, what? Why? Why? He said because he knew Vancouver were going to play in a little, like a bigger low block. So we're going to spring Jordan for speed. He would help, add more width. He can run in behind. Like, dude, how fast is Jordan Morris anymore? Like, honestly, Jordan Morris is not the speed demon he once was. He is very, very much like he's quick, but he's not a speed demon like he once was. Like, I just don't feel like that's like a big part of his game anymore. Like, compared to the fast players in MLS, I don't even think Jordan's even a top 10 in my opinion. He just doesn't look like he doesn't play like he doesn't run like it. So I just think it was a very like lame excuse wouldn't be good, but just like I feel like it was invalid. Like I just don't think he is fast anymore. He doesn't add more width or stretch his defenses that much anymore. And by all of our non-surprises, Jordan has probably the best chance, maybe second best chance of the whole game for the Sounders before halftime. Golden wide open header and he heads it with his purse, and it goes really sadly wide. And if Sounders get that goal, honestly, I think they could have even grinded out a draw and or a win. Like that's like a vintage 2017, 18, 19 version of the Sounders. Like even when they got a red, like I still would have been confident that they could at least still have grinded out a draw and or a win. Just nick a goal off a set piece or long throw. Those kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, but scrappy plays, set pieces are kind of the key ways you can do that. And that was kind of the golden ticket. But when you're relying on a guy like Jordan Morris to do it, you don't win. I hate bringing this back up. You don't win MLS Cups, trophies, go deep into playoff runs. Are not a higher seeded team with this version of Jordan Morris as your striker or one of your main attackers. That's the reality. And I'm sorry again if you're a Jordan Morris fanboy, but guy's been overcooked for 2 years now. I tried to warn us that this isn't going to end well with Jordan if we keep persisting with him 2 years ago. And I got so much shit for it. And it pisses me off because I would have rather sold him when he had value before we renewed his deal to like a maxed out TAM deal when there was obvious teams and there was a report saying teams were interested and were willing to pay for him. But instead we did what we did. And I'm just like, this is not good business. But again, let's go back to the game. Jordan has a chance. He fluffs it, but we're still going in 0-0 at half. It's not that bad. It's really not the end of the world. And the reality is, as much as you want to blame the ref for the game, was the ref at all at fault for the goals we ended up conceding? So second half starts, Vancouver has a butt ton of possession and no surprises whatsoever, but they don't create anything special. Did you guys not see that too? I'm assuming you guys did. None of the goals Vancouver score and or tried to create was anything. They didn't do anything. We gave them their goals. That has nothing to do with the ref. That has nothing to do with us being down to 10 men. It is down to us. Yeimar with a stupid pass given to, I don't know who it was on Vancouver. They pass it down to the byline, sweaty, Galled. Okay, and speaking of Gald's goal, he doesn't even hit it that well. It's actually shot right at Stefan Frei. He actually hits it very poorly. And Frei, with cheddar wrists, just goes like, and it goes right in. I was so shocked. I look at it, I was like, I'm not surprised they scored, but like, that actually was a very preventable goal because Gald doesn't hit that well. That's mistake one. Then mistake two. Xavier Arreaga really proving his doubters right. Proving them completely right. By trying to nutmeg Brian White, he pounces on it, scores. game over. It's just damage control at this point. We have a congested fixture of games, going to DC, going to Philly. Not ideal, but that's the reality is. And you know who wants to make things worse is Alex fucking Roldan. Alex Roldan. Why? Just why? If this game is not the epitome of what's wrong with his team right now, then I don't know what is. Because he loses his head and his ego gets to him. Why do you need to make that tackle? We have just gone pretty much 85 to 90% of the team back. We pretty much have everyone back. We kind of need a healthy squad now for these next couple of weeks as the, fixtures ramp up. He's like, nah, I'm going to just kill this Whitecaps player. That was a stupid, stupid tackle. So stupid. Why did you make that? Because he was mad and didn't think about the team first. This is the problem with so many of these starting players right now. You're not above the team. You are not some God's given gift. Your brother's not going to come and put his arm around your shoulders and be like, it's okay, Alex. You just made a little mistake. No, dude, you're like a 5-year veteran in this team. Like, why are you doing that? That was just dumb. You're going to get a 3+ game suspension now in a position that now we only have one other player that can play in Cody Baker. Like, come on. We're already depleted in the right back spot with Reed, Baker, Whiting already being hurt. Why do you think that was a good idea? And why do you think that was necessary? I get you're upset, but like, think about the fans. Think about your teammates, because you didn't do that. You thought about yourself and how you felt, and you just decided that was a really horrific tackle. That could have honestly been career ending. Studs into the calf with speed, velocity. Like, that guy was going in hot. Like, I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Straight red. It wasn't even a second yellow, just straight red. Stupid. And that's the big problem I have with this team, with a lot of these starters anyway, most of them, is they know they can get away with doing dumb shit like this, being bad, what the guy mentioned earlier, like Jordan Morris, getting stupid red cards, which Josh has already done earlier this season, but we rewarded him with more minutes. I know Josh is a young guy, but there's got to be some sort of discipline here. Like, if he's going to be dumb, get 2 yellow cards, get sent off, and arguably cost us the game against Colorado, why is there no disciplinary action where, Josh, you kind of screwed us over a bit. Like, you got to earn your spot back. Give Leyva some more minutes if Josh is going to squander his and get a red card. And that's the same thing with Alex. You already know once his suspension is done, he's back to being our starting right back. That's so pathetic, in my opinion. But game continues. Fans just fucked off. They left the stadium at this point. It was empty. It was the emptiest I've ever seen Lumen Field in my goddamn life. And that's it. I mean, the game was wrapped at that point. Alex gets the dumb red, and that's game. I was watching the press conference. It's just kind of the same robotic shit by Brian. When are you going to start switching things up? I'm pretty sure it was after the Galaxy game. He said, like, okay, yeah, we're going to make some serious changes. And he puts out the same lineup against Montreal. Granted, we won 5-0. That was fantastic. But I kind of knew, and I think some of you guys knew, that was like a blimp. It was like a little Band-Aid over the cut, kinda like, "Okay, you know what? Here you go. Soften the blow a little bit." But, like, reality was gonna get back to hitting us. I mean, we played pretty bad against a team in Dallas that we probably should have gone out there and gotten the win for how bad our start's been, because now we're really needing to catch up with points. We didn't do that. Arguably could have lost it, arguably could have won it. It could have gone either way. A tie was pretty fair for both teams, and then we go into this game in the first Cascadia game of the season against a high-flying Vancouver, and we completely threw it away. This match was it was the epitome of what's going wrong with this team this season. A lot of these players shouldn't be playing for this team. 70 to 80% of them, they should have been gone years ago. Brian Schmetzer, his stubbornness, his tactics, they're just bad. You can't defend that anymore. And again, I've mentioned it. Brian is not the sole problem here, but he doesn't help himself when he keeps persisting with players that are not performing. You should have subbed out Morris, in my opinion, over Raúl. That should have been the switch. But you keep thinking Jordan Morris is a striker or is a lethal threat in the modern day MLS as an attacker. Like, that's a joke, right? Like, that's like the comedy hit of the year. Jordan Morris being a serious attacker for a title-winning team. You're not winning shit then. That's the truth. We saw it in preseason, him missing sitters there. We're seeing him miss sitters now. When does the guy get dropped? When does a guy like Xavier Arreaga get sold because he's not a good defender anymore and you've had offers on the table for him? When is a guy like Alex Roldan going to actually be pushed and we bring in a right back that is hungrier and can start over him? I mean, even Cody could, in my opinion, should be maybe starting over Alex because he's just so madly inconsistent defensively. When is a guy like Jackson Ragen going to stop getting the silver spoon Seattle treatment when he gets stupid red cards against Portland and, gets absolutely bent over in games like against RSL in the Leagues Cup where Chicho Arango tears him a new one? Where is the standard, the accountability for these type of players? Or actually giving players like Musovski or Andrew Thomas or Cody Baker or whoever it may be actual minutes, who are hungrier and wanting to actually play, and that includes Nathan as well. Injuries are not a valid excuse anymore. We only have one big injury that's maybe crippling our team. It's Pedro, but it's pathetic that we use that. I mean, Brian even kind of hinted at that as an excuse, like, oh, yeah, we're missing a big piece in Pedro. How's a guy that we just bought that has played maybe, 1.5 games? Really, we're already making excuses to why we're not good because he's not playing. That's pathetic. That is sad. Injuries are not our problem. The rests are not our problem. We are the problem. From Craig to Brian to the players, we are all the problem. We are not a ruthless transfer team to let go of players that, yeah, Craig, maybe fans won't be happy that you're going to let go of Liao Chu when he had his best year with us, even though, granted, it wasn't that great of a year, but yeah, fans might not be happy about it, but you're getting good money for it. Yeah, fans might not be happy that you let go of Jordan Morris, because he's a Seattle boy 2 years ago instead of giving him a new deal. But it's just being smart with your business. Fans were not happy when we sold Oba back before 2016 started. But Garth was cool with that, and he reinvested in many good players after that because he knew that was good money to be spent. And that honestly, Oba maybe only had 1 or 2 good years maybe left in him. Sell the players when the iron is hot. And buy players when the iron is hot. There's been so many players that have been coming back to MLS. Players like Arango, Giroud. Apparently Martial might consider coming to MLS as a free agent this summer. Whoever it may be that want to come to MLS, we have the money to bring in big players. I know the more lucrative places are like LA, Miami, and those spots, but money talks. Players go to Saudi because of good money. I mean, don't get me wrong, Saudi Arabia is a great country, but it's not the ideal destination for people building families or want to live in a luxurious, modern day society kind of life. If you have the money and have the facilities and show yourself off to many great players that we have done, to the Lundbergs, to the Martins, to the Dempseys, to the Laderos, to whoever it may be, yeah, they're not the flashiest signings, but there have been players that have been wanting to come back to MLS that I've mentioned, like guys like Arango or Giroud, I feel like would have been perfect players for us to bring in for this team, and we chose not to. That's a problem. Brian, stop being so flippin' stubborn, man. Change up the tactics, the personnel, the players. Actually do something. Actually change. Stop making excuses because of injuries, because, we have so many games. Every team has the same fucking problems. Everybody. All of us. All of them. But they're not pouting and crying in their cornflakes every morning about it. Just start rotating the squad. Della Vega would have never had his initial injury if you didn't overdo him to start the season. It just shows desperation that you're not willing to change. It shows that kind of desperation that you're relying on the new signing to hopefully be your get out of jail free card. That is desperation. That is a problem. Your tactics and your personnel change. Nouhou drops a stinker, you'll still keep playing Nouhou. Alex Roldan absolutely kills a player on the field, you'll keep starting Alex Roldan. Jordan Morris, you can miss 70 sitters, you can keep starting Jordan. You're a local guy. And it's a mad coincidence that his dad just retired a quarter of the way through the season after Della Vega's re-injury and all the injuries we've been dealing with recently. It's such a weird coincidence, but that's not the topic at hand here. That's down to you. And to these players, the Ruidíazes, the Morrises, the Roldans, both of them, the Stefan Freis, the Yeimars, the Nouhous. You're all very experienced players, but you don't play like it. You guys getting paid the ridiculous amounts of money that guys like Jordi Alba's like a TAM, isn't he? We're paying that kind of money to Jordan Morris. You guys know that, right? We're paying that kind of money to guys like Cristian Roldan. Like, I love Cristian Roldan, but In modern day MLS, you're not giving max TAM deals to Christian Roldans anymore. There's plenty of teams like a Joveljic, like he's a U22 initiative player, and I believe that's the same deal that Liao Chu's on. I'm not totally positive, but regardless, Joveljic is a striker that's in the Golden Boot candidate. He's not even a DP, and we're giving crazy monies to guys like Liao Chu, who is, yeah, he looks a little bit flashier than most of our average Joe bum players on the team, but he's really nothing special. He's not even playing well this season. We look really dumb, which I'm not surprised about, that we didn't just sell him when we had good money on the table. There are so many issues, and I'm getting tired of talking about it with the team. And this game was the epitome of it. And I don't know how things get better for right now until we look at ourselves and be like, hey, we're kind of fucking up. Craig, this summer, I'm going to give you a blank check to buy and sell players. I'm giving you the free reins to make some. You and Brian sit down together, hit up Transfermarkt, get on your guys' laptops, and be like, okay, this guy looks kind of good. This guy looks kind of good. Who's not producing on our team? Play some money ball shit. If you're not getting goals, you're not getting assists, you're going to go. You're done. That's how you win games. Playing smart in the transfer market, and we're not. Adrian Hanauer, you're also fumbling the ball too. Fans are pissed, man. And I don't blame him, and I feel bad for him. I really do, because I'm one of them. I'm not anyone special. I'm a fan just like the rest of you guys. Fans are done. They're pissed. The ECS is weaker than ever. They're barely filling up seats. Stadium gets emptier and emptier after each game. Why would fans want to go to games? Spend hundreds of dollars, take out 5-6 hours of their weekends after they pissed away a 9 to 5 work of a whole week. Especially someone that's doing that. I don't want to go to games. Like, the only game I kind of enjoyed was the game against Colorado because it was at noon. It was really nice weather. No one wants to go leave their house at 4 or 5 p.m. to get to the game at 7, get home at close to midnight, and then realize, shit, now it's summer. I mean, not summer, it's Sunday. And, the following day I have work and I have so much shit I have to do because I blocked off 6 hours to go to the Sounders game the day before. Because we're not making signings. We're not giving back to the fans. We're okay. They know we're going to buy season tickets. We're going to buy jerseys. We're going to keep filling up their pockets. They are complacent knowing that we will always be there, which is so annoying because season ticket packages have gotten worse. We used to give away so much free stuff to fans at games, and we don't do that anymore. We don't reward the fans because we're complacent because we know we'll always have 30 plus fans at games. We're not the Chicago Fire. No, those things can go away just like that if you don't keep on building on the building blocks. That's the problem, is we're not building on the building blocks. And look, because we're so complacent for so long, for 3 years now, we're one of the worst teams in the league. It's not hard to get back on top. For example, we talked about in my previous video, the MLS moves, when we compared Galaxy and Sounders. It took 1 year for the Galaxy to be back to competing in the West because they were just like, well, shit, yeah, we know our team's bad. We're going to have to change a lot from top to bottom, but we can do it. We have money. It's not like Sounders don't have money. It's not like we don't have players we can sell for more money. It takes just a year if you're willing to actually put in the work and reflect and be like, okay, we need to make these changes. And I know people aren't going to want to hear it, nor do they maybe agree with it or disagree with it. But if we keep this form up, I don't know how Brian keeps his job. That's always the first thing to go, is the coach. As much as maybe more so you guys want Weibel to go, and I'd love for Weibel to fuck off too, it's not going to happen. I kind of would be I feel like it would be fun to do a video talking about who could be the next coaches for the Sounders. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to see that type of video, because I already have a good short list that me and MLS Moves made in that previous video, but I could refine it and actually add a few more that I feel like would fit the bill. But I already know there's going to be some crazy ass backlash to be like, how could you suggest that we should get rid of Brian? And then when we win a game, it's like, look, Brian's not the problem. I feel like that'd be a good video to do. Let me know in the comments if you want to see that. But yeah, I kind of went off track quite a bit. This is a long review, really long review. I will be at the match against the Galaxy for fan cams. So if you guys are there, you want to voice your opinion, I'm only doing fan cams. This is going to be the second of 5 times this season, which doesn't include playoffs if we make the playoffs. So if you guys want to voice your opinions, I will be at that game. So to all of you fans, that if you feel like going, I'll be at the Galaxy match. I'll be doing fan camps. It'll be a blast, in my opinion, for a lot of you guys to hear your guys' perspectives too on this whole thing. Try to be there as soon as possible after the full-time whistle, because I'm not going to do no more than 3 to 4 to maybe 5. Because I got to go home at some point and I have to edit all of it. So just giving you guys that heads up. nonetheless, that's kind of my opinion on everything from the match to all the problems I've already talked about millions of times. Obviously, you guys can let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. I feel like it'll be very therapeutic because this was very therapeutic. I actually feel a lot more zen, calm now because of talking about all those things. And I feel like you guys will too, hearing it and then commenting about it. Make sure to like the video if you haven't. I do have, if you're still stuck around in the video, a really special video coming. It's actually a hilariously fun, amazing video, high production. I'm not going to say anything more than that. Very high production video coming out on the channel, and I'm so pumped to finally release it. It's been months and months in the work, and I think it's going to be a blast. So if you guys are not subscribed, a lot of you, over 50% of people on that watch the videos are not subscribed. Make sure you're subscribed so you're the first ones to see our content, to be a part of, you know, a growing channel that doesn't sugarcoat things, talks about the honest truth as a fan through a fan's perspective, because that's the place to be. But boys and girls, I hope you'll have a lovely day.